All right, so we just pulled this one in. Actually, the story on this one, which the only reason why I'm filming it is because I can show y'all all of the prices on this one. I can go over everything with this because we actually purchased this truck for my granddad. He was in need of a truck, so I'd been searching for a while. And the other silver one that you'll see in the video is one I originally had purchased for him, but he passed on it due to the rust issues. And so we just found this one, just got it in from the rollback today. Got it off maybe 2 hours ago. And so I was just going to do a walk around before I started tearing this thing apart. And I will show y'all what I paid for it, the tow, and then show you how we fix it and everything. So it's hit in the front. As you can see, the bumper's knocked in there. And then it doesn't look bad, but when you start looking closer, which I didn't see it in the pictures, the grill's busted where it took a hit. Hood took a hit right there, so that's dented, which that can be probably fixed. And then the grill's all busted up here, so the grill's trash. The outer shell of the grill is usable, kind of. It's kind of busted there. Headlights busted all up. It's a piece of carbon, fake carbon off of somebody's car, so definitely not this one. I guess it nailed something with some fake carbon. It's lifted. It's got a leveling kit on it. All the tires do not match, which is something that you don't necessarily realize sometimes at auction. They're different, so that sucks. Basically, when you have a whole set of tires that don't match on a pickup truck, they're trash. So tailgate's not that bad. This one does not have rust all in it like the other one. It does have a nice bed liner in it, which is worth, you know what, $300-500 by itself. So it is the full size bed on these trucks. It's not like the stubby that would come to right here, which comes on the crew cab. He does drywall for a living and stuff, so it's important for him to be able to haul, you know, a whole sheet of plywood or 2x4s or whatever. So he didn't want the crew cab stubby one. The interiors, if cranks right up, interior is pretty clean, straight off the tow truck. Seat has a normal, you know, a little bit of wear and tear. Has 138,000 miles. Somebody's already installed a radio, which my grandfather does not care about none of that. And has the overhead console, but overall it's clean. I was busy when it come off the rollback. I actually didn't see it for an hour. Eddie actually unloaded it, and he went and drove it and got it out front, and then he come and reported to me on how it drove and what he found. So it's kind of crazy. I buy these trucks, spend thousands on them or a vehicle, and then when they come in, I don't even see them for sometimes an hour or so until I can get time to actually look it over. But it's just another vehicle to me. I could care less. Buy them. I practically buy them in my sleep. So we have a check engine light. I've got to hook the scanner on it and see what's going on with check engine light. And we have a brake light on, so no clue what's going on with the brake light. Engine runs good. Battery was dead. Or it was actually, the battery cranked when it got here, but then after I drove it, it won't crank back. So we have since pulled it in and put it on the charger. So I actually have a little issue down here. So the frame horn, you can see right there, the frame is actually buckled. Okay, so when it took a hard enough hit, this frame rail buckled in. So I'm gonna get this front bumper off and then go over what we're gonna do. But basically, we're gonna strip the bumper off, get it off, and then he currently has the same truck basically, and it actually has developed a knock in the engine. It's not blowed up yet, but it's on its way to being blowed up. So what we're gonna do is actually pull all the parts off of his truck, put them on this one to save him some money so that he don't have to buy parts. Take these wheels and tires off, put his factory wheels and tires on, get this leveling kit off this truck, get this thing sent back down like it's supposed to. And then somebody has aftermarket exhaust on it, like Flowmasters or something, so we're gonna cut all that mess out and put the factory exhaust off of his other truck underneath this one so it can be back to sounding quiet like it's supposed to and not loud when you crank it up. So we're gonna tear into it, try to get this bumper off and just get right at it. All right, so here's what we got after we got the bumper off. Boy, this frame got clobbered, man. That is crazy. You normally actually don't see them bent like that much. So this is supposed to be a 90. So this plate that's like this is actually supposed to be like this. And this rail that's down like that, for anybody who don't know, is actually supposed to be up. So the top of the rail should be like this, and instead it's all the way down here. So it took a lick. So now I will explain what we're gonna do. So you're probably thinking, well, you got a frame rack right there, so I guess you're gonna put it on a frame rack and straighten it. No. Number one, it's a lot of work. Number two, there's no reason. It's pointless. It's stupid, in my opinion. But I'm sure everybody's gonna tell me I'm wrong, especially if the professionals get a hold of this video. Oh man, I'm a hack. Here's how we're gonna hack this thing all up. This truck is my granddad, so don't do the comment of, would you trust your family in it? I'd put my kids in this. Like, this is nothing. Let's not get carried away. We build race cars on this channel and we fabricate. So we're gonna come, of course, right here in front of this mount, and we're gonna cut a straight line all the way through it. We're gonna pick up Papa's truck, and when we get his truck, we're gonna take it, make the same cut on his frame rail, and then we're just gonna weld it back together. So if you build race cars and you weld, like you probably do if you're on this channel, then you know that that's no big deal. But that's all you gotta do. Cut this thing straight through. Make sure you get your cut exact same on the other frame, and just re-weld a new front frame horn is what that piece is called, frame horn on the front of it, onto it, and then bolt everything together. And what we'll do is we'll actually put our bumper on first, put everything together. We won't weld that. We'll just put everything together. And then that way we could pick the bumper up or down if we need any more adjustments, and then we'll tack it and take everything back apart and burn it in, instead of burning it all the way in and then it being down a little too low or something like that. It should be perfect, but it's always better safe than sorry. So anyways, we should be picking his truck up here probably tomorrow or so. I wanted to just get this broke down and find our damage and kind of look the truck over. So I'm gonna move on to scanning it and see what we got going on. All right, so what we got is I had to cut this out of the way because it was just folded up and it would just be a pain to get a grinder in there. So this is where I want to cut it. I don't want my cut, I want to follow off of this because this is a good reference point on both trucks. So I can put yellow tape on the other truck, the same distance right there, and get the same thing. I'm not necessarily saying my cut is square across the top. I haven't checked that yet. What I want to do first is worry about this cut, and then I will figure out the other side. So I just wanted to open it up so you can get the grinder in there, because you're going to have to cut this thing kind of crooked like this, unless you use a saw. So yeah, and you can use yellow tape instead of a marker, and that'll get you a nice straight line. That's just what I use. But let's get this cut. All right, so got that side cut off. That was the not fun at all, the least bit fun at all. So, but it's cut, it's close enough. How we're gonna do this is, like I said, we're gonna cut the other one off of that truck and then actually bolt the bumper to it, mock it up, hold it in place, and then tack it. That way, if there's a gap or anything, or if it needs to go up and down, then it can basically put on there. All the structure is from here back. So literally all this is it mounts up your bumper and then it holds your tow hook. So if you ever plan to be ripping and raring on the truck with the tow hook, yanking people out, then you probably want to definitely make sure when you weld this back together, it's solid. But I know my grandfather didn't even want a four-wheel drive, so he has no interest at all in yanking on a tow hook. We're still going to weld it all the way around. We should be able to get decent across the top. But yeah, probably won't be the prettiest, but it'll work. So we're going to get that one marked off, get that one cut, and then weld the frame horn on. All right, so there we go. Got our oh, what's in the frame? Y'all like that old school Charger? Dude, I got this from my granddad, my other granddad, not the one that's getting this truck. He used to be a mechanic back in the 70s. Some of y'all, if you're older, you might remember this thing. Drop a comment below right now if you remember this thing and when you had it, if you're a mechanic. This thing is old, boy. These are the ones that just shoot straight voltage non-stop. The new school ones that we have, like the smart chargers, they don't like to bring batteries back to life if they're completely dead. Like if they don't pick up a little bit of juice, they don't like to work. This bad boy, you plug it in, it shoots power like it's supposed to non-stop. It's not good to leave it plugging in overnight because sometimes they'll bowl the battery over. But drop a comment right now if you remember having one of these. This is pretty cool and I want to hear it. But we got the frame horn off, got it cut off. gonna grab the welder, and then we are going to mock this thing up and get this one on. All right, so what we're gonna do, man, this thing looks like a train wreck. That's just sitting there. We're gonna work our way from the top down. So I just swapped out the metal bracket for the headlight that's busted. I'm gonna go ahead and put this valance back on, bolt it to the fenders on each side. It will clip in. You'll take these clips, it'll clip into here to hold that up, and that will set the height. Then we can put our bumper up there, set our height to the bottom of this filler cap. And then if everything looks right on the frame rail, you know, if I need to go in or out, up or down or whatever, if it's off a little from the wreck, it don't matter. But I can make them adjustments, put my bumper exactly where it needs to be. The goal is to have the end piece sitting perfect against that piece and have a perfect weld. That's the goal. That's what we're hoping for. But I don't want to assume that and then have to make adjustments. So I'd rather bolt the frame horn to the bumper on that side, bolt the bumper to that frame horn, put it up there, get underneath it, and look at it while somebody holds the outside, and just physically hold it where it needs to be and weld it. But let's see what happens. Let's get this upper cap in. Alright, so we got the frame horns on there. There's no reason to even show the welds because they're absolutely freaking terrible. I'm not a welder. Yeah, and you see where we test fitted the bumper. So when you weld your frame horn on, then test fit, you know, your headlight, make sure that you haven't basically got it up too high and squished everything up into the hood. Make sure you'll be able to make all your adjustments and get it to look right. And then you can reassemble your bumper. So to do a high-end job, you would be taking the cap off, painting the cap off the vehicle. But on a lot of these salvages, especially for somebody I know, especially my granddad, I'm not doing that. We'll assemble it all, get everything working, and then we'll scuff what we have to and pull it in the booth and tape and paint everything together, because we got to do some work on the hood. So I'm gonna move on to probably putting the bumper back on it, getting that bolted up, and then move on to put my headlights back in it, and then addressing my hood issue, because I know my grill's busted up. I don't know if I want to swap the whole hood or not. Really like to keep that hood so the bottom side of it's the same color. You know, just yeah, I try not to purposely just put multiple color vehicle or parts on a vehicle, and I definitely don't want to paint the bottom side of the hood. But yeah, let's move on, keep on getting it. Old truck runs good, man. Got a brake light on the dash, so when I get back to the shop, I got to figure out what that is. Just come out to do a drive cycle to see if it would check off for inspection. We are in a Mission County, so we have to get a North Carolina emissions inspection before we can sell a vehicle. Even though this is for my granddad, it still has to be sold through the dealership. But yeah, I mean, all I've done so far is just put that front bumper on, put the headlights on, swapped his hood and grill on it because it was busted from the accident. I got a mirror that's cracked, which is not a big deal. Swapped the mirror on it. But it's not a bad purchase from IAA at all. You know, there's a couple little things. The gas tank, when the forklift went and picked it up, it dented in the plastic gas tank, so it's like crushed in one area. It's not leaking or nothing, but I might swap out the gas tank out of his. I really don't want to. But the exhaust is loud on it. Somebody's put some mufflers on it, so we're gonna put the factory exhaust back on it, take the lift kit off of it. It's got a leveling kit on it, and hopefully take these wheels and tires off of it. But not a bad purchase. And it doesn't have any codes on it, so the green checks that you can see are the tests that the computer has already performed and it passed. The red X's are just the tests that the computer has not performed yet, and it's still waiting to perform. At the top you can see the PD, DTC, which is pending trouble codes. There's nothing, and there's no actual trouble codes, and there's no check engine light on. But yeah, this is what we monitor when we're driving a vehicle at first to try to determine if it's ready for inspection. All we can have here is one pending test. So basically, to dumb it down, all you can have is run one red X on this screen. Everything else has to be green checks. You can have one red X. If they're all green, that's fine too, but you can only slip it through inspection on one red X. The evap is one that has not checked off yet, and our gas gauge is on quarter, right barely over a quarter. And for the evap to check off, it does prefer a quarter of a tank to 3/4 of a tank. So the system on most vehicles don't want it too low, and then the system also doesn't want it too high. So the sweet spot is to put fuel in it around half of a tank, and that should be, you know, the sweet spot to help you get through inspections on yours if you're flipping cars and you need to get an inspection before you sell it. So back here at the shop, and the brake light issue right here on the dash, okay, this little brake light down in here in the corner, that's your e-brake light. Okay, what a lot of people have a problem with this year make and model, and if you look it up on YouTube you can actually find it, is even when the e-brake is not compressed, that light will stay on. So we actually already went in here and fixed this issue. I was just trying to show you the light, how it is. So when you pull the e-brake now, the light goes off like it's supposed to. When I dived into it, I actually watched a YouTube video on it, and when I dived into it, I forgot to film it. So all you do is you take off this upper trim cap right here, okay? You'll come down here on your bottom, you'll take this off. You got some screws down here in the bottom, and then this pops off, and then you've got a screw over here and a screw over here, and then this trim piece around your speed armor will pop off. You take that off, get that out of the way. Right up here on the back side of your cluster, you have a wire harness that's plugged in. There's a plug right there. If you'll just grab that harness and move it and watch your cluster down here, the light will go away. There's something with Fords that have an issue with that wiring bundle, that over time, I guess it wiggles loose and vibrates loose, and the light stays on and doesn't register to your actual emergency brake pedal down there. So if you got that light on there, try that first. Just get this piece off around here. It's literally right here, the bundle above the gas gauge. There's a bundle. Just wiggle them wires around and everything, watch your gauge, and I bet that will go right off. We're gonna call that a wrap on this video for this part. The next part, I'm gonna show y'all the painting of the front end and how we actually take it and blend these panels so they don't look that bad, for really fast, cheap, and something you can do if you're working on painting and you're flipping cars and you want to know how to do it. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, smash the bell button so you get notified on all of our projects, because I'm trying to teach y'all everything that has took me years to learn, and I greatly appreciate all the support, and all of the views that y'all are watching the videos and staying committed to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. I'm out.